A man named Stephen Kocher set out on a drive through the American Southwest, a journey that would end in one of the strangest missing person cases in recent history. Stephen was a 30-year-old journalist from Utah who had been recently struggling with unemployment and financial problems. On December 13, 2009, surveillance cameras captured his Chevy Cavalier entering a quiet neighborhood called Sun City Anthem, a retirement community in Henderson, Nevada, just outside Las Vegas. It was around 11:54 a.m. About 10 minutes later, another camera captured what investigators believe was Stephen. He parked his car along the street, stepped out, and calmly began walking down the sidewalk. He wasn't carrying much with him. No backpack, no visible supplies. He simply walked away from the car, and he was never seen again.
We knocked on all the doors. We had pictures of Stephen. We said, "Have you seen this person? Have you seen this person?"
What makes the case even stranger is that Stephen had no known connection to that neighborhood. No friends, no family, no work there. His car was later found still parked exactly where he left it. Inside were his belongings, including Christmas gifts he had purchased for family members. Investigators later discovered that his phone briefly pinged a cell tower about 10 miles away that afternoon, suggesting it had moved from the area before going completely silent. Despite extensive searches, interviews, and years of investigation, Stephen Kocher has never been found. No confirmed sightings, no clear explanation. A homeowner was scrolling through footage after they noticed some things missing from their kitchen. They found something they weren't expecting. In a brief moment, a shape drifted in front of the fridge. The angle of the camera offered no clue about what or who was causing it, and there was no way anyone could have gotten into the house. All the doors and windows were locked, and none of the other cameras captured any movement. Where did this person, or whatever it was, come from? And is it even gone now? A TikTok user named Luke Lee was checking his baby monitor when something strange appeared on the camera. The footage showed his baby lying quietly in the crib, but on the left side of the frame, another small figure slowly seemed to step into view. It looked like a young boy, briefly entering the camera's view before disappearing again. What made the moment even more unsettling was that, according to the uploader, there was no other child living in the house. The TikToker later posted a follow-up clip showing exactly where the figure had appeared, and there didn't seem to be anywhere for a child to hide or walk away. He also shared that later that night, the baby camera mysteriously fell over, something, he said, had never happened before. So was this just a strange coincidence? Some viewers believe the clip might show a curious child spirit. TikTok user Shay Dawn was outside her home at night about to go inside when this happened. Suddenly, a man approached and tried to follow her inside. Fortunately, she noticed him in time. When confronted, the man tried to act casual, claiming he was only making sure she was okay.
Can I help you?
No, you all good. I'm trying to make sure she's okay.
But something about his behavior immediately felt off. He lingered nearby, speaking strangely and appearing as if he might have been under the influence of something. No one knows what his real intentions were, but fortunately, nothing bad happened. Tiffany Witten walked into a Walmart in Marietta, Georgia, in the early hours of September 13, 2013. What happened inside that store would become the last confirmed sighting of her. At the time, Tiffany was going through a difficult period in her life. The 26-year-old mother of two had been reportedly struggling with addiction and had recently lost her job. Inside the store, loss prevention officers began watching her closely, believing she might be attempting to steal merchandise. When they finally confronted her near the exit, security cameras captured the moment. Suddenly, Tiffany panicked. She dropped her handbag, kicked off her sandals, and ran out of the store. Security employees chased her briefly, but she managed to escape. And from that moment on, Tiffany Witten was never seen again.
Maybe she's out there. Maybe she can see this.
When police later searched the handbag she left behind, they found identification, personal belongings, and even money still inside. Her cell phone record stopped shortly after the incident, and investigators were never able to trace her movements beyond the Walmart parking lot. Over the years, there have been rumors, tips, and suspicions, including speculation involving people Tiffany knew at the time, but none of these leads have ever resulted in a confirmed answer. A couple was about to watch a movie at home when something strange suddenly appeared on their TV. Instead of the film loading, the TV suddenly showed what looked like a live security camera feed from someone else's room. Confused, they began recording the moment on their phone.
Jordan, I'm on a movie website.
In the footage, a man could be seen sleeping on a bed, completely unaware that he's somehow being broadcast onto a stranger's television. The couple later showed that they had simply been trying to stream a movie from their phone to the TV. Moments later, the mysterious feed disappeared and disconnected from their screen. So how did this happen, and whose room were they watching? Could someone in the same apartment building have been trying to stream the camera feed to their own TV, but accidentally connected to the wrong device? And if that was the case, it might make the situation even more disturbing, because it would mean someone in their own building had hacked into a security camera and was secretly watching someone inside their room. A worker reviewed security footage from a restaurant after finding a mess the next day, even though he was sure he had cleaned up thoroughly the night before. On the footage, he noticed something strange had happened after closing time. The kitchen was completely empty, with no staff inside and the doors already locked for the night. But as the camera continued recording, one of the metal trolleys suddenly began to move on its own. Moments later, items resting on top of it slid off and crashed onto the floor. No one was present in the room, and there was no visible wind or disturbance that could have pushed it. Some viewers suggested the floor might have had a slight slope, causing the trolley to roll. But if that were the case, why did the other two trolleys nearby never move at all? A young woman named Emma Filipof disappeared under deeply mysterious circumstances in Victoria, British Columbia. Emma was 26 years old and had recently moved to the city from Ontario. But in the days leading up to her disappearance, people close to her began noticing something wasn't right. She appeared increasingly anxious and paranoid, telling friends that she felt like someone might be following her. On November 28, 2012, surveillance cameras at a local YMCA captured Emma behaving strangely. She entered the building, then quickly left. Minutes later, she returned again, only to leave once more. This happened several times in a short period, as if she was unsure where she felt safe. Not long after, another camera captured Emma inside a nearby 7-Eleven, where she purchased a prepaid cell phone. Before leaving the store, she paused at the door, carefully scanning the street outside, almost as if she believed someone was watching her. Later that night, Emma was seen barefoot outside the famous Empress Hotel, clearly distressed. Witnesses reported that she appeared frightened and was pacing the area. Police were called and briefly spoke with her. But because she had not committed a crime and did not appear to be in immediate danger, officers eventually allowed her to leave. It was the last confirmed sighting of Emma Filipof. Soon after, her car was discovered parked nearby, filled with many of her personal belongings, including clothes, identification, and other items she would normally carry with her. Investigators began searching the surrounding area and reviewing the surveillance footage, trying to piece together Emma's final movements. In the months that followed, police received numerous tips and possible sightings, but none of them were ever confirmed. Then something strange happened. Months after Emma disappeared, her mother received a mysterious phone call from a payphone in the area. When she answered, there was only silence on the other end of the line. Authorities were never able to confirm who made the call. Despite years of searches, public appeals, and ongoing investigations, Emma Filipof has never been found. So the question remains, was Emma truly being followed like she feared, and what really happened to her that night? A home surveillance camera captured something strange near a window for just a few seconds. A small, shadowy figure appeared, unlike any person, before vanishing as quickly as it arrived. The details of its face and body were impossible to make out, leaving only a sense of unease. Some viewers speculate it could be a skinwalker or another supernatural entity, while others suggest it might be a trick of light or shadow. But since I couldn't find more information about this video, everything about it remains a mystery. Another young woman named Leah Roberts left her home in North Carolina in March of 2000 and set out on a long road trip across the United States. Leah was 23 years old and had recently gone through several difficult life events, including the loss of both of her parents. She told friends and family she wanted to travel west to find meaning in life, inspired by the writings of author Jack Kerouac. After several days on the road, Leah eventually arrived in Washington State, near the rugged wilderness of the Mount Baker area, and shortly after that, she vanished. About 5 days later, joggers discovered her Jeep Cherokee at the bottom of an embankment along a remote forest road. At first, it looked like a simple crash, but investigators quickly realized something didn't add up. The Jeep had not been reported in an accident, and the damage appeared unusual. Even stranger, the battery cable had been disconnected, raising suspicions that the crash might have been staged. Her belongings were scattered around the area. Inside the vehicle, investigators found clothes, books, and personal items, including a large amount of cash that had been left behind, but Leah herself was nowhere to be found. Search teams combed the surrounding forest for days, but they never discovered any clear trace of where she went. More than 2 decades later, Leah Roberts is still missing. Did Leah wander into the wilderness and become lost? Or did someone else cross her path on that remote mountain road? And if the crash was staged, who staged it and why? Could Leah have planned the accident herself, hoping to disappear and start a completely new life? Or was the crash actually set up by someone else? Someone who may have been involved in her disappearance? More than 2 decades later, those questions still remain unanswered. A family in Texas got more than they bargained for when their home surveillance camera captured a frightening accident. The footage shows the frame of a top bunk bed suddenly giving way and collapsing onto the bed below. A child was trapped underneath, while their sister immediately ran to get help. Miraculously, despite how alarming the scene looked, both children escaped without injury. But the situation could have had a tragic outcome. A homeowner in New Mexico found strange footage on their security camera. An unidentified humanoid figure sprinted across the driveway. The creature's posture was unusual, a hunched back, unnaturally thin legs, and it appeared to be completely naked. The video was slightly blurry, making it hard to identify the being for certain, but the speed and posture suggest it's far from ordinary. The homeowner wonders if it was someone wearing a costume, but fears it might be something he can't explain. In September 2014, 30-year-old Kalin Louder was living in a condo complex near the Jordan River in Utah. Around the time, friends and family began noticing something was wrong. Kalin had started acting increasingly paranoid and frightened, telling people she believed someone might be trying to break into her apartment. Then, on September 27, 2014, security cameras captured Kalin leaving her condo in the pouring rain. She was barefoot, wearing only shorts and a t-shirt, and she wasn't carrying her phone, wallet, or any personal belongings.
Her wallet, purse, her dog that she loves more than anything was at home.
Just hours earlier, her sister had called 911, reporting that Kalin believed someone was trying to break into her apartment. But when the police arrived, they found no signs of forced entry or suspicious activity. Later that night, security cameras captured Kalin leaving her condo complex and walking out into the rain. She never returned home. When family members were unable to reach her, she was soon reported missing, prompting search teams to comb the surrounding area, including nearby parks and the Jordan River. For weeks, investigators searched for answers. Then, nearly 2 months later, a body was discovered in the Jordan River about 5 miles from her home. Authorities later confirmed the body was Kalin Louder. An autopsy found no drugs or toxins in her system, and investigators were unable to determine exactly how she lost her life. Her death was ultimately ruled inconclusive. Some investigators believe Kalin may have been experiencing a severe mental health crisis, but others wonder if someone else could have encountered her that night after she walked alone into the rain. A man named Vatsal Bhai Pancha was having a tense day at his apartment complex in Valsad, India, when something terrifying happened. As he was stepping out of the elevator, the cabin suddenly lurched upwards, coming dangerously close to crushing him. CCTV footage from the Gujarat Housing Board residential complex shows him pacing nervously inside the elevator just moments before the incident. What would have happened if he didn't get out in time? A homeowner had tried to leave town in a hurry after their storage unit was broken into. They dumped everything they could salvage into the living room, creating a chaotic mess, and rushed out. While away, their Canary security camera sent a motion alert. They checked the live feed, and what they saw was chilling. Two translucent figures drifted across the living room, moving with purpose, almost as if they owned the space. Commenters suggested dust, lens flare, or a camera glitch, which you can't deny. It looks a little spooky. In the early hours of March 2nd, 2024, a 22-year-old law student named Jack O'Sullivan disappeared in Bristol, England. That night, Jack had been out with friends at a house party in the Hot Wells area, a neighbourhood near the harbour and the River Avon. At some point in the early morning hours, Jack decided to leave the party and head home. Friends later said he'd been trying to find a taxi, but it appears he was unable to get one. Instead, Jack began walking through the city alone. CCTV cameras later captured several moments of his journey. In one clip, he can be seen walking along quiet streets in the early morning darkness. In another, he appears to be looking at his phone, possibly trying to find directions or arrange a ride. But as the footage continues, his movements become harder to trace. At some point during that walk, Jack simply disappears. He never made it home. When his family realized something was wrong, authorities launched a large search operation across the area. Police reviewed more than 100 hours of CCTV footage, trying to reconstruct Jack's final movements. Search teams also combed the surrounding neighborhoods, nearby parks, and the harbour and River Avon, using specialist dive teams to search the water. Despite those extensive efforts, no confirmed trace of Jack has ever been found. His family believes that someone may have seen something important that night without realizing it at the time. Since his disappearance, his mother Catherine and brother Ben have continued retracing his final route through the city, hoping someone might remember a small detail that could finally lead to answers. A homeowner set up a security camera in their house back in 2014, just to keep an eye on things while away. One night, the footage captured something completely unexpected. In the corridor, a woman with long dark hair wearing what looked like a white dress appeared. She stood perfectly still, almost as if watching something unseen at the far end of the hallway. After a few seconds, the figure mysteriously vanished into the shadows, leaving nothing behind. If this footage is real, I would move immediately. A woman was captured on her nanny cam sleeping in her bedroom when something strange happened. Take a look. Her door suddenly swung all the way open by itself, and her blanket seemed to shift. An object then fell to the floor, startling her awake. She got up to check the room, returned to bed, and then the lights turned off on their own, leaving her confused and tense. Have you ever experienced something like this? Reddit user OKIncident9027 shared a clip reportedly captured from live airport webcams. In the footage, several bright lights hover in the night sky, moving in ways that seemed unusual to many viewers. The timing of the lights coincided with a temporary airport shutdown, which led to speculation that something unidentified might be involved. What makes the clip particularly unsettling is the lack of official explanation. A major airport suddenly goes quiet, but authorities haven't confirmed why. Was it a routine security exercise, or something truly strange happening above El Paso that officials aren't revealing? A 16-year-old teenager with special needs went missing near Hudson Boulevard in Gastonia, North Carolina. The search began on a cool Monday night after police received a report that the teen had been missing for about an hour. Officers quickly began searching the area while reviewing nearby surveillance cameras. At one point, an analyst monitoring the footage spotted the teen on a security camera and was able to track their movements in real time. This information allowed officers to respond quickly and locate the teenager safe and unharmed. Fortunately, this situation ended with a safe rescue. A guard at the Kadena Air Force Base in Okinawa, Japan, noticed something strange on the CCTV monitor and had to rewind the footage to make sure of what they were seeing. The video, later uploaded to YouTube by Jose Cruz, shows an intersection outside the base under a dark night sky. Just behind a road sign in the bottom left corner, a dark shadow slowly begins to form. As it grows darker, its movements become unsettling. The shadow hovers, then rises and glides across the road before pausing in the center. The guards can be heard reacting in disbelief, trying to track it and replaying the clip multiple times. No explanation could account for the shadow's behavior, leaving the on-duty guards convinced it might have been a ghostly presence. A couple had long suspected that their house was haunted, but one night they finally captured evidence on camera. It began with the door swinging open completely on its own, even though no one was nearby. Then, a semi-transparent smoke started drifting into the room. It then merged into a large swirling ball before exiting the house entirely. The homeowners were terrified. Some suggested a smoke machine, but the smoke's almost intelligent movements seemed off. Feeling unsafe, the couple decided to abandon the house permanently. A convenience store security footage shows a wild encounter in the parking lot. A woman tries to back away from an aggressive goose, but the bird won't leave her alone. It repeatedly jumps at her, clearly determined to chase her off. Her husband arrives in the car, opening the door to help her escape, but the persistent goose tries to follow them inside. Finally, after several tense moments, the couple manages to get inside, close the door, and the goose retreats. What did the goose want from her? 19-year-old Camila Mendoza almost disappeared on Christmas Eve after leaving her home for what was believed to be a morning walk in San Antonio, Texas. When she failed to return, her family reported her missing, and search efforts quickly began. During the investigation, authorities even released dashcam footage showing a person whose clothing matched Camila's, raising hopes that someone might recognize her and help locate her. For days, officers, volunteers, and federal investigators, including the FBI, worked to piece together what had happened. About a week after she disappeared, Camila's body was discovered in an area of tall grass not far from where she had last been seen. Investigators later reported signs that indicated she had likely harmed herself, and her death was ultimately ruled a suicide. A firearm that had previously been reported missing by a relative was also found near the scene. A truly heartbreaking case. May Camila rest in peace, and may her family find the strength and the support they need during this incredibly difficult time. TikTok user Paranormally shared home security footage from a kitchen where something very strange seems to happen. The clip begins with the chair moving on its own, followed by the homeowner appearing to be grabbed by an invisible force as if lifted or pulled across the room. However, on closer inspection, some sharp-eyed viewers noticed subtle details suggesting it could be a staged event. The homeowner's right hand seems to be holding a string or wire, and small tugs coincide with the chair's movement. Movements like falling or lifting a leg were timed perfectly to make it look like a ghostly force is at work. While the footage is unnerving, it's likely a cleverly executed hoax. What if it isn't? For more scary CCTV captures, watch this next video.